Morning, folks. Happy August. Whew. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's so refreshing outside. I learned this month that Texas, people think Texas is an old Spanish word that means tiles. It's not. It's an ancient Indian word that means way too hot. And Houston is an ancient Indian word that means water on road. I've learned that. I did research. There was ample research involved in coming up with those answers. So good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Ed, and I'm the minister at this wonderful community of faith and love and hope, and I am so happy to see all of you here with us this morning. I am joined by our worship associate this morning, Ruth Walensky. Hello, Ruth. Ruth is a giant in this community, serving in the Buildings and Grounds Committee. We call it Campus Operations and Maintenance. Keeps things going around here. And if you know anything about what's going on right now, there's a lot of pedaling going on. Ruth may look like a duck floating calmly on the water, but those paddles are going very fast underneath the water. So thank you, Ruth, for everything you do, and thank you for being with us here this morning. Yes. For those of you who are still a little new around here, this community has a celebration after services. We go out for lunch together, and you are all invited to go if you want. The lunch today is at Torchy's Tacos, which is on San Felipe or San Felipe, depending on how long you've lived here. And it's just right over by the H-E-B, right around the corner. So it is an informal gathering, and we would love to have you come if you are so interested and if you're hungry. Between the services and lunch bunch, we offer coffee and conversation in the gathering space, and you are, of course, welcome to come to that as well. I have a special announcement this morning regarding Texas Impact. Texas Impact, as you know, is one of the partners of one of our partners. Our partner is Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry, someone we work with a lot here, and is actually the recipient of the Share the Plate this month. And Aaron Walter, thank you, will be here later in the month to talk to you about what's going on with Texas UU Justice Ministry, which we call Texas UJM, which I didn't want to use a jargon word for you. But Texas Impact is running a border trip to the Mexican border to see the conditions there. It is a three-ish day trip. And due to a series of miscommunications, I was unaware that I was supposed to be actively recruiting folks who might want to go on that trip from the congregation. I thought they were just asking ministers to go. I didn't get that. So the trip is having trouble filling up. So if you would like to go down to the border and see the conditions there and see what's going on, I think we're looking for 3 slots. It's $350 per person. It'll leave here next Sunday and come back next either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. I don't remember. It's run by Texas Impact, and I am going, and we're working out carpooling so that you don't have to go. So if you are interested in doing that, if this is an area of interest for you, please see me or Ellen Norton. Ellen has her hand up, and we will arrange for you to be put on the list of folks who are coming down to the border with us. I hope that will be an interesting trip. The only border I've ever been to really is the Canadian border, which I imagine is a totally different thing. There's no wall for whatever reason. Okay. And let's see, that's it for the announcements, except for one thing. What? Oh, coming of age, yes. Coming of age. We would like to invite Elena to come and speak on behalf of the coming of age folks and tell us what is going on with them. You can go there, I guess, or there.
Good morning. My name is Elena, and I'm at the lectern today to remind you about our survey that you may or may not have been handed out to you already. It is a short survey about your beliefs on the divine, God, goddess, or unknowable energy present in the universe. If you have already taken our survey last week, thank you. If not, we'd love to hear from you too. To take the survey, simply circle up to 3 statements that you agree with most. Keep in mind that this survey is anonymous, so please do not put your name on it. This is for statistical reasons only. This is Grant and Charlie. They will be collecting responses at the end of the service. There will also be more copies handed out after the service if you didn't get one. This is Reese. He will be crunching the numbers on the data, which will be displayed 2 weeks from now. Thanks in advance for your participation.
Thank you, folks. And I invite now our Charlie Tran is visiting with us this week. Artem is taking a week off, and I invite Charlie Tran to bring us into the formal part of our service. Charlie?
As we gather in community, we look within ourselves and to each other for strength, restoration, and inspiration, so that as we journey together, we catch the spark of the eternal spirit, and from that spark, we light our chalice flame. Lighting the chalice flame symbolizes to all that the spirit of our congregation is strong and that our will to transform ourselves and the world is also strong. We light the flame with gratitude. We light the flame in memory of all who have gone before, in honor of all who are here now, and with joy for all who are yet to come. This morning, we welcome Scott Stibe to light the flame. Our chalice lighting words for this month come from seminarian and member of the San Gabriel, Texas Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, Eric Hepburn. So please join with me in reading these words together as they appear on your screen. We light this flame to remind us Love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains. As we work to create beloved community, we welcome all who would join us in building a better world with more love, more justice, and more peace. We welcome all who would join us in growing in mind, heart, and spirit. We welcome all who would join us in tearing down systems of oppression of all kinds. We welcome all who would join their purposes to ours in a loving spirit of right relationship. Please join me in our welcoming. The words are on your screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here.
It's important here at Emerson that we acknowledge that our history is a shared and harmful one. Our congregation's buildings are situated on the home of the Karankawa and the Atakapa peoples, who, for at least 2,000 years before European settlers arrived, and those settlers nearly brought about their end. May we recognize, uplift, and support Indigenous voices and communities in our work as a congregation. And let me just say that can become kind of rote, right? But it is important that we remember that the South, especially the South, Texas, South Carolina, where I lived for many years, and Florida, were built largely on the backs of people who did not benefit from their building. And this is an important thing for us to remember, not to shame ourselves about, not to criticize ourselves, but just to remember that the economic systems that were in place used people as fuel. And we just need to sit with that every now and then, not every week, but that's why we do that. These people, the Karankawa and the Atakapa, they were gone before the Spanish got here. The English came. The English were here for like 6 months and left so much disease that they basically wiped them out. And this Houston area was empty when the Spanish came because of that. So we just remember. That's all. We just remember. It's good to remember. Each time we are gathered, we hear words from one of the 6 sources of Unitarian Universalism, which center on the message of our service this morning. Today, our reading comes from Dr. Sherry Proulx. Reverend Proulx currently serves our faith as an assistant professor of religion and education at Starr King School for the Ministry. Here are her words this morning. We affirm the power of love to heal what is broken, to hold us together across pluralities of diverse religious practices and beliefs, to hold us when things fall apart, to grow our capacities, and to guide us when we return again and gain in our families and communities to side with love. And now I invite you to stand as you are willing or stay seated, but whether you're standing or seated, please help us in joining us sing our first hymn, which is hymn number 1024, Do When the Spirit Says Do. It is in the Teal hymnal, 1024. Wait, don't go. Hold on. I want to ask you something. So the choir is a skeleton choir because it's the summer, right? So we're going to start the choir back up. Would you like more people from the church to be in the choir?
Always.
Always. Do you need classical music training to be able to be in the choir?
Absolutely not.
You can hear her, right? Okay.
I'm trying to throw the voice over into the
Is
microphone.
being in the choir fun?
Yes.
Yes. And what is the total time commitment of being in the choir? It's Wednesday?
40 hours a week.
40 minutes.
Okay. So it's a Wednesday rehearsal from 7 to 8:30, sometimes 9 if we're working towards, a special music Sunday. And Sunday, we meet here a little bit before service to warm up and kind of go through what we're doing, and then we sing the service.
Great.
You don't have to read music. You don't have to have any musical talent whatsoever.
And we have proof of that, right?
Oh, no, but seriously, the point of singing in the choir here is to let your voice worship. That's what it is.
Yeah. Let your spirit come out through
Yeah.
your voice. Get yourself out of the way
Yeah.
and let your spirits. Okay. Okay, good. That was a small, and that was completely, you didn't know I was going to do that.
I didn't know.
You didn't know,
Thank
but
you.
it's okay. Well, we have a question from the,
They're going to start up on the 14th, I believe that's the Wednesday, 14th of August.
which is the day we come back. Okay, which is the day we come back from the Texas border trip. So,
Hey.
So
all
you're
set.
available.
So you're available. You'll actually be here. Okay, great. Sorry, Ruth, I jumped on your space. Sorry.
Emerson collects an offering each week, like many other communities of faith, but our offering is not for our church, which is supported by the annual pledges of our members. We collect our Sunday offering to give to others because we know that giving is both a transformative and a spiritual act and an important way to live our values. 75% of today's offering will go to our August Share the Plate recipient, Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry. Texas UUJM advocates for public policies that reflect UU values and principles. They are the UU State Action Network. Most Texas UU churches are members of TXUUJM. TXUUJM organizes, facilitates, and supports activities such as rallies at the Texas Capitol, lobbying legislators in person and electronically, UU the Vote, support for LGBTQ, transgender, and immigration rights. It also collaborates with like-minded partners on social justice. The remaining 25% of today's offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, which provides thousands of meals every day to Houston's homebound seniors. During the offering music, children who want to attend their RE class may follow Miss Francine and Miss Mackenzie to their classrooms.
This is the part of our service where we take a moment to pause and reconnect with everything that is greater than we are, and to just sit and be calm and relax. And what I'd like to do today is invite you to find a comfortable place, put your feet flat on the floor, let the weight of your body sink into the cushion, and I'd like you to follow the theme this morning of welcoming, or more specifically, the theme of welcoming back. I'd like you to let your thoughts flow around the topic of welcoming back. What would you like to welcome back into your heart? What would you like to welcome back into your soul? What maybe has changed for you since the pandemic, maybe? Since the hurricane, maybe? What for you would be a welcome return? And allow that to just roll through your body. Let it roll from your shoulders, down your back, down your legs, to your knees, from your knees to your ankle, and let it just roll. Let it fill you. Feel its presence, and feel how you are different with its presence. Feel how you are warmer, maybe, or softer, maybe. Allow it to run through you. Allow it to be one with you, just for a few moments.
The words for our second reading today were spoken by a character named Chidi Anagonye, played by the actor William Jackson Harper on the television program The Good Place, which aired 53 episodes on NBC from 2016 to 2020. This quote is from the very end of the last episode when all the characters are facing the end of their time. The character Chidi tells his friend Eleanor to picture a wave in the ocean. You can see it, measure it, its height, the way the sunlight refracts when it passes through, and it's there. And you can see it. You know what it is. It's a wave. And then it crashes in the shore and it's gone. But the water is still there. The wave was just a different way for the water to be for a little while. You know, it's one conception of death for Buddhists. The wave returns to the sea where it came from and where it's supposed to be.
So welcome back. I came up with that title for this sermon. And I realized a little bit later that it was really an arrogant title. And I realized this in the middle of doing a project, which it's almost gone now, but my fingernails were black for several days, because the very first instruction of this product I was using was, wear gloves. And of course, I said, I don't need to wear gloves. Only losers wear gloves. It also said, use a drop cloth. I didn't do that either. So there was some arrogance in me at the time. And why is it an arrogant title? Well, it's an arrogant title because welcome back to whom? I've been gone. I don't even know which of you has also been gone. For all I know, y'all might have all been here the whole time I was gone. So technically, the only thing I know is that I was gone. So the only person I can for sure be welcoming back is me, which I'm pretty sure is a diagnosable symptom of something. So if you have been gone, I welcome you back. If you have not been gone, never mind. Thanks. So what I'd like to do is talk about a diagnosable event. I would like to get into some of the things that have happened since we last saw each other on Father's Day. It doesn't seem like that long ago, does it? I think it was 6 weeks ago. But a lot has happened. So I would like to just go over what has happened during this jam-packed series of 6 weeks. I think the big news, at least for Unitarian Universalists, is at General Assembly in June, the UUA voted to change Article 2, which I know is legal chatter and not saying much to most of you, but let me put it this way. It means that the 7 principles, which we know are now no longer in the UUA's bylaws. They have been replaced. The UUA's bylaws are a relationship agreement between its member churches. So as a member of the UUA is the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, as a member of the UUA, Emerson now agrees to a different relationship with other UU churches. The 7 principles, which I haven't preached on here because we've been doing other stuff. We've been getting to know each other and all this whatnot. But the 7 principles, you have to know, were not originally thought of as a theological statement. They were an organization of how we behave with each other that morphed into a theological statement. How we behave is really all we have to connect us, because many Other churches have theology or dogma or something that connects each and every one of us. We don't have that. So the way we are together is the only thing we really have together that binds us together as a community. Now, other churches have studied this process over its 4-year process. But many churches, like Emerson, were busy doing other things. Emerson was busy with the retirement of a minister and an interim ministry and recovery from Harvey and searching for a new minister and welcoming a new minister. So all of this happened, all of the changing of Article 2 happened while you guys were rightfully busy doing other things. Some churches had leisure time to really, right, it's a lot, but they had time to really dig into this. You didn't. So you are going to be looking at it ex post facto, after the fact. And we are going to be looking at it together over the next year or 2 years just to get a feel for what this looks like to us. And the new principles are very different. They are a change to a values-based agreement with love at the center. That's really different than what we have. So it's going to take some time to think about how we integrate with it and how it integrates with us. So there's no rush. I know that some of you were aware of this change. There's not like we've got to peel off the principles from wherever they are and cut them out of the books. They don't go away. They still exist, but they are no longer form the agreement that we have with other congregations. So we will do it together, and we will do it slowly, and we will look at that. So that's the first news point that happened since we've been gone. The second, of course, is Hurricane Beryl. What a joy. Beryl's path passed through the Caribbean, Mexico, the United States, and you probably didn't know this, Canada. I'd like to let you know about the death toll from Beryl. St. Vincent and the Grenadines lost 8 people. Somehow it missed Barbados. Again, I don't know how Barbados dodges every hurricane known to man, but it did. Grenada lost 6 people. Jamaica lost 4. In the United States, Texas lost 36. All but 8 were caused by power outages. So was that Beryl? Or was that something else? Louisiana lost 1, Vermont lost 2, and Nova Scotia lost 1. All due to Beryl. Beryl caused $6.2 billion worth of damage, 72% of which was in the United States. Many of you were without power for days. Francine and I were without power for 7 days, 19 hours and 32 minutes, but not that we were counting. No, it wasn't roughly, it was exactly. And it felt a lot like the pandemic to me. I immediately went, because when the pandemic first happened, that St. Patrick's Day, I don't know what you were doing at St. Patrick's Day. The next day, it was like, okay, the world is closed now. And we were like, oh, okay, no problem. It'll be, 3 weeks? Then we'll be back, right? I can deal with this. But boy, we went right back to boom. And it was weirdly re-traumatizing for us. And it probably was for many of you. And we spent the pandemic in Florida, which is a really nice place to spend a pandemic if you have to, Many of us in this congregation, myself and Francine included, were made more comfortable by the love and support of people in our community and in this church. So I think the re-traumatization of sort of flashing back to the pandemic was different this time because now we could help each other. Before, in the pandemic, we really couldn't help each other, right? We couldn't go near each other before. We had to have rubber gloves on and double face masks, and now we didn't have to do that. So this was a little bit different, but I could have done without it. So I'd like to offer us just a moment to pause for a minute to remember that love that made this experience a little bit better than the experience of the pandemic. And I'd like to also pause for a moment to be in that moment with that love, and to be in that moment with those 64 people who lost their lives with Beryl. So if you would join me in just a minute, we will pause to remember those 64 people. May they be remembered. So on to the world of politics. Boy, I don't follow politics, but it sure follows me. We lost Sheila Jackson Lee. Sheila was an advocate for the least of us. Sheila Jackson Lee was a clearly imperfect person. But as far as I can see, there are politicians who missed that perfect mark by quite a larger margin than she did. A member of Congress from Houston for 30 years. It's hard to do that and be perfect. Politics is not a game for the weak of spirit. Here are some quotes from people who knew her and worked with her. U.S. Representative James Clyburn from Charleston, South Carolina, described Jackson Lee as a tenacious advocate for civil rights and a tireless fighter, improving the lives of her constituents. Jamie Raskin of Maryland praised Jackson Lee's work ethic. She studied every bill, he says, and every amendment with exactitude, and then told her Texas and her America exactly where she stood. Former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she was a powerful voice in Congress for our Constitution and for our human rights. She fought tirelessly to advance fairness, equity, and justice for all. A life well lived, Sheila Jackson Lee. Our hope is that she rests in eternity as an ancestor. And we hope that whoever replaces her chooses to act in such a way that people will say these things about them when they move on. Next topic, next event of the post-Father's Day. I started calling it PFD, post-Father's Day events. Our president decided that being president and running for president was too much for his 80-year-old body. Good for him. If I see one more video of him falling up a flight of stairs, I am going to crawl through the television and slap someone. How very little respect we have. I have such little respect for the media today. All sides show that video. It's repulsive. This man in 3 years has managed to turn around a nation. Like turning around an aircraft carrier running at flank speed, shifted us away, not entirely, but a little bit, even a little, from the acknowledged failure of trickle-down economics. And he pointed us in a direction that let us believe that bottom-up economics can work and fairness can work. Sure, he's still done nothing about the FCC. He's done nothing on Citizens United, nothing on Obamacare. That's right. But the strides that his team has made have been historically monumental. The fact that he needs to stop running is proof, in my opinion, and it's an embarrassing fact, but it's proof that the ability to govern is not as important as the appearance of the ability to govern. Our leadership in this country is, to use a Canadian term, a lot of feathers, but not much chicken. We finally get a real progressive with the ability to actually govern, with the ability to actually set up an all-star team of rock stars that he's put in leadership, and all we see is him falling up a flight of stairs. Good for you. Go home, relax. And then, our vice president, on the upside, we may have a female BIPOC president of the United States. You know what BIPOC is? Black, indigenous, people of color, right? I do think the way that we treated Joe showed who we really are. But I think that the fact that we went with we didn't have to, right? Could have just washed her out. As a matter of fact, that's what we've done for hundreds of years, just washed her out. But we didn't do that. So I think that also says a lot about us. There's a t-shirt that says, I don't know if you've seen it, the t-shirt that says "The future is feminine." Have you seen that t-shirt? There's also a t-shirt that says "The future is black." And I think that both of those are interesting t-shirts. I think that they have an important message. But I think what we really need is a future that represents our population. Our current president count is 46 male, 0 female. 45 white, 1 other. And this nation has yet to even imagine that it can be great again for everyone. Maybe what this nation is doing is refusing to imagine that it can be great for everyone. But I can't stop thinking that a BIPOC woman can and has imagined that. And I, for one, am excited to see what happens if we can do that for ourselves, right? I tell you, it's a jam-packed 6 weeks. It's been an amazing 6 weeks. And then there's the Supreme Court. Oh, God. I hate to bring you up and then, but the Supreme Court, if you don't follow the Supreme Court, don't. The Supreme Court has been very busy. It is now officially one of the most vile institutions in this nation, and that's beating the Senate, which takes a lot of work. Here's some quotes from U.S. News and World Report. I'm not going to go into all the details because it'll make your head split open. This is what the court has managed to do this year so far, most of it in July, to fail to protect the voting rights. The court has made it more difficult for law enforcement people to protect the voting rights of racial minorities. The court has made it more difficult to protect the voting rights of racial minorities. How is that helpful? The court has made it more difficult for administrative agencies to fulfill their congregationally mandated roles. Agencies like the EPA and other agencies. And the court made it more difficult, far more difficult, for anyone to hold a president or former president accountable, even if that president acts to overthrow democracy itself. That was a good idea. Why not? The psychology of this nation is a psychology more focused on winning than governing. And that psychology is ridiculously perilous. Our collective and individual intention of getting our way getting my way, in making sure that my opinion comes at the cost of failing to recognize that there is your way and there is my way. But we fail to see that there is a way or the way. All we can see is your way and my way, and we can no longer find a way or the way. And seeing a way and the way is so far out of our scope of vision that we seem to have forgotten that it's even possible. So that was the Supreme Court. Another event since Father's Day, PFD. We also have the war in Gaza and the conflict with Iran and the war in Ukraine, which are all over and ended and done with. See? Totally making stuff up and lying is an effective way of communicating to people. Seems to work. And lastly, we have the Olympics. Oh, the Olympics. The Olympics are in Paris. They're wonderful. Anybody watching them? You watching them? Yeah. They're great, right? You know, I love watching. Sometimes we turn it on and there's somebody racing or running or swimming and doing whatever they're doing or whatever that dancing thing is. And there are no Americans in the race. And I'm like, thank you for showing us this bit, right? That there were no Americans here. It's still a good race, so we want to see the race. And it was just spectacular watch. We watch it a little bit here and there. But I am going to comment or bring up or let you know, if you don't already know, about, did you see the opening ceremonies? The American brand of fundamental Christianity certainly did see the opening ceremonies. And they collectively lost their minds over a depiction of a scene from their scriptures, a depiction of an imagination of a scene. The Last Supper. So the people who put it together said it was not the Last Supper. It was way better than that. It was a celebration of the god Dionysus, one of my personal favorite gods. The god of winemaking, orchards, fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy. American fundamentalists did what they do best. They treated their God, their creator God, the omniscient, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent God of their faith, like a 5-year-old who had wandered out into traffic, swooping in to rescue their God, to save him from having been made fun of. It's arrogant, sure, but worse off, it lays bare the ugly truth that so many American fundamental Christians have faith in their definition of their God, but no faith in all in the actual God itself. Instead, they threaten the artistic director of the opening ceremonies with death threats. They threatened to boycott the Olympics. They threatened to boycott the advertisers of the Olympics. And in the end, all they managed to do was expose their lack of faith in their God, expose what they really think their God is, a punisher with a psyche as fragile as a China doll. Expose what underlies their words is a childlike innocence where being able to explain is confused as a passable substitute for belief. A belief in a world where disagreement is punishable by death. These were the people we were hoping can make America great again. Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, Christian, a fundamentalist is a fundamentalist. I wonder what their God would think of that. So that was our jam-packed PFD period. What a hoot that was. It was a lot more than I would have expected. It gave us a lot to think about, I think, a lot to process, a lot of things we might want to sit around and talk about, a lot of actions to be taken, maybe. But like the wave in Chidi's quote that Ruth read earlier, the water itself has not changed. The wave is just a different way for the water to be for a little while. You and I, we're like the wave. We return to the sea, and the sea is this congregation, is this body of people, and where we come from, and we come back. So welcome back. Whether you left or not, welcome back. And I look forward in the months to come to making some good waves with you this year. May it be so, amen. And let us sing our second hymn. Our second hymn is written down somewhere. There's a hymn number 1007. It's in the teal hymnal. If you would stand, or you can stay seated, but help us sing our hymn together. 1007 in the teal hymnal. My friends, each time we come together, we move. We move with the words we hear, we move with the music we hear, and we move with the music we sing, and we move with the light of the chalice, which, like us, flickers and flutters from side to side, moving constantly while remaining tethered to its source. I would like to invite Scott, if you're willing, to come and extinguish our chalice. Not as a symbolic ritual, but as a practical ritual. We do this because the flickering and fluttering light of our congregation is carried within each of us here present. those not present with us today, those online, those online, joining us online, and I've totally lost my spot now. And those who left this community years ago, never to return. So, totally dismissing. I just totally dismissed the elder. Let me just, hold on. Let me put this somewhere. Okay. Okay, take two. We are grateful for your presence this morning. For those of you who've joined us on YouTube, after the postlude, we'll be ending our live streaming service. Thank you very much for coming. We love to have you, and we are happy you are here and happy you are able to join us by any means possible. We look forward to seeing you in the future. And thank you very much to everybody here. Quick reminder, get your survey from the coming of age kids, right? Very important. And if you're interested in chatting about the, you can't miss them, the coming of age kids. If you're interested in chatting about the border trip, just come see me or come see Ellen during coffee hour, and we'll be glad to talk to you about that. If you're hungry and want to join for some conversation, come over to Torchy's after. And now I invite you to just hear our benediction. May we, in the course of our week, come to be able to feel the liberating freedom of this religious path we share. May our gods, each of them, welcome us. May they challenge us to live up to our own expectations of ourselves, whatever and wherever they are. And may the world around us light up so we may see our way back to wholeness and clarity. And now I invite Charlie and the choir to sing us out.